Before we get into this video, as always, I'd like to clarify that most of this is going to be my opinion. I will be sharing facts about the Assyrian Church of the East, but I'm going to be fairly harsh in my judgment in what I believe about it, because I don't view this denomination very highly, so please do keep that in mind. And with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. Welcome to Transparency, the channel where we tackle misconceptions and uncover the truth about Christianity. Today we're looking at the Assyrian Church of the East, one of the oldest Christian communions in the entire world. It traces its roots deep into the first centuries of Christianity, developed outside the boundaries of the Roman Empire, and survived waves of persecution, exile, and near extinction. I personally don't view the Assyrian Church of the East that highly, and I would even consider them to be barely Christian. That does not mean it lacks historical depths or courage. It means that for me, its theology, ecclesiology, and practical realities make it difficult to embrace. So first, what is the Assyrian Church of the East? The Assyrian Church of the East is an Eastern Christian body historically centered in Mesopotamia, modern-day Iraq, and surrounding regions. It is not part of the Eastern Orthodox Church or the Catholic Church. It developed within the Persian Empire and became the dominant Christian expression east of the Roman frontier. Today, the church is led by a Catholicos Patriarch and has dioceses in the Middle East, North America, Europe, and Australia. It identifies itself as Apostolic and maintains ancient liturgical traditions in the Syriac language. Its members are ethnically and culturally tied to the Assyrian people, and in many ways, the church has functioned as a guardian of Assyrian identity through centuries of displacement. What I respect here is its sheer survival. This church endured persecution under Persian rulers, Mongol invasions, Ottoman massacres, and modern instability in Iraq. That resilience is undeniable. However, its small size, ethnic concentration, and historical isolation raise questions for me about universality and doctrinal clarity in the broader Christian world. The Assyrian Church of the East claims apostolic origins through St. Thomas the Apostle, along with St. Addai, or as they refer to him as Thaddeus of Edessa, and St. Marie. According to its tradition, these apostles evangelized Mesopotamia in the 1st century. Edessa became an early Christian center, and Syriac Christianity flourished there. This claim to apostolic foundation is significant. Apostolic continuity matters historically and theologically. Like many ancient churches, it grounds its authority in succession from the apostles. Historically, Christianity did indeed spread east very early, and Syriac-speaking Christians formed one of the oldest theological cultures in the world. That said, apostolic claims alone are not enough for me. Many communions make similar claims. The question becomes whether that apostolic inheritance has been preserved in a way that aligns with what I understand to be Orthodox Christology and ecclesiology. The most controversial aspect of the Assyrian Church of the East is its Christology. Historically, it became associated with Nestorianism, a doctrine attributed to Nestorius, who was condemned at the Council of Ephesus in 431. Nestorius resisted calling Mary Theotokos and emphasized a distinction between Christ's divine and human natures. The Assyrian Church of the East rejects the label Nestorian, but its theological tradition, influenced by Theodore of Mopsuestia, I'm sorry if I mispronounced that, and others, speaks of Christ in terms that strongly distinguish the divine and human natures. It prefers the term Mother of Christ rather than Mother of God. To be fair, modern dialogues between the Assyrian Church and the Catholic Church have shown that some disagreements may have been terminological rather than fundamentally heretical. In 1994, a common Christological declaration between the Catholic Church and the Assyrian Church clarified significant areas of agreement. Christology is not secondary. If the unity of Christ's person is not articulated with precision, that affects everything else. This is one of the main reasons I rank the church low. Theological ambiguity at that level is not something I can overlook. One of the most impressive chapters in this church's history is its missionary expansion. From the 5th to the 14th centuries, the Church of the East spread across Persia, Central Asia, India, and even into China during the Tang Dynasty. The famous Xi'an Stele in China, again, I'm also sorry if I mispronounced that, documents the presence of Christian communities there in the 7th century. At one point, it was arguably the most geographically expansive Christian body in the world. Its missionaries traveled along the Silk Road, established monasteries, and translated scripture, along with engaging in foreign cultures. Long before Western missions, the Church of the East was evangelizing Asia. That level of commitment deserves recognition. Yet despite the early success, much of that expansion did not endure. Political upheaval and persecution reduced many of those communities. Today, its global presence is comparatively small. That contrast between past reach and present scale is sobering. The Assyrian Church of the East uses the Holy Qurbana, particularly the ancient anaphora of Addai and Marie, one of the oldest Eucharistic prayers still in use. It is remarkable because in its traditional form, it lacks a fully explicit words of institution narrative in the way most other liturgies contain. This has been the subject of debate. In 2001, the Catholic Church recognized the validity of this anaphora under certain conditions, affirming that the institution narrative is present in a dispersed, implicit manner throughout the prayer. The antiquity of this liturgy is impressive. It connects modern worshippers with very early Christian practice. However, the absence of an explicit institution narrative still feels theologically uncomfortable to me. When it comes to the Eucharist, clarity matters. Historical authenticity does not automatically equal theological adequacy. The Assyrian Church of the East maintains an episcopal church structure with the bishops overseeing dioceses under the authority of the Catholicos Patriarch. Apostolic succession is affirmed, and clergy are ordained within this historic framework. This hierarchical model gives it structural continuity with other ancient churches. It is not congregational or loosely organized. That is a strength. However, governance has not been without internal division. In the 20th century, disputes led to splits, including the formation of the Ancient Church of the East. Internal fragmentation weakens credibility and stability. For a church that already exists as a small minority globally, division compounds vulnerability. Historically, the Patriarchate was centered in Seleucia Oh my goodness, this is very hard to pronounce. Historically, the Patriarchate was centered in Seleucia Ctesiphon in Mesopotamia. I guarantee you I mispronounced that. Over time, due to persecution and political instability, leadership relocated multiple times. In the 20th century, the Patriarchate moved to the United States. More recently, it has reestablished its headquarters in Erbil, Iraq. This relocation reflects both diaspora reality and a desire to reconnect with historic roots. The fact that the church continues to exist at all, despite genocide and displacement, is significant. Survival itself is a testimony to perseverance. So, why am I not in the Assyrian Church of the East? While it affirms Christ as fully God and fully man, its terminology and theological history remain controversial in broader Christian dialogue. For me, that Christological history is not a minor detail. Precision about who Christ is matters. Even if modern dialogues between the Assyrian Church and other apostolic communions have produced clarifications, the historical separation and doctrinal isolation remains significant, as well as not having a very universal church and not affirming sola scriptura and believing they are the one true church. The Assyrian Church of the East is strongly tied to ethnic identity. It is not just a church, it is a people. While preserving culture is good, the heavy ethnic association can make it feel less universally accessible. Christianity is meant to be Catholic, universal. When church identity and ethnicity are tightly intertwined, it can create barriers, even unintentionally. Historically rich, yes, but in practice, especially in diaspora contexts, some parishes can feel small, culturally insular, and less visibly structured compared to larger liturgical traditions like Eastern Orthodoxy or Roman Catholicism, or even Oriental Orthodoxy. The absence of a fully developed sacramental and canonical system comparable to those larger communions leaves it feeling ecclesiologically thin to me. The Assyrian Church of the East has survived persecution that would have erased most institutions. From the fall of the Persian Empire to Mongol invasions, etc., this church has endured. That level of resilience commands respect. Its missionary expansion in the first millennium was extraordinary. At its height, it spread across Persia, India, Central Asia, and even into China. Few Western Christians realize how globally influential it once was. And its commitment to preserving Assyrian Christian identity in the face of genocide and diaspora is admirable. Many churches assimilate quickly. This one did not. There is strength in that. The Assyrian Church of the East is ancient, missionary, resilient, and deeply tied to a persecuted people. Its liturgy is among the oldest in Christianity. Its global missionary history is astonishing. But for me, Christology is decisive. The historical association with Nestorian theology and its separation from the Council of Ephesus weigh heavily. Add that to its limited universality today and internal fragmentation, I cannot view this denomination that highly. So while I respect its endurance and honor its historical contributions, I ultimately can't recommend it to you. Not because it lacks courage or antiquity, but because I believe theological precision and Catholic unity matter more than historical survival alone. In terms of Christianity, I would put Assyrian Church of the East in the category of barely Christian. I by no means think that if you're in the Assyrian Church of the East, you're going to hell or you're not a Christian or whatever. But I personally would recommend almost any other church. That's just purely my opinion, though. Yes, that does mean I would rather be Roman Catholic than in the Assyrian Church of the East. Probably even non-denominational, but it's kind of a stretch. I would recommend maybe reading into it for the history, but I wouldn't recommend looking into it to join. I do not condemn anybody who is in this church. I love you guys, and I'm no more Christian than they are. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you guys all have a very God bless day.